Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making bread because in times of heaviness and difficulty and just all around sadness, I find that bread baking really lifts my spirits. And in solidarity, today I'm going to be making a Ukrainian bread called Pampushky. And the recipe I'm going to be using comes from this lovely book, Mamushka by Olia Hercules. In this beautiful book, Olia shares some of her favorite recipes, family recipes, and when I saw the photo of this bread recipe, I knew I had to make it. It's just so stinking cute. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So bread seems to play a pretty important role in Ukrainian cookery. When you get married, there's a beautiful decorated bread called a korovai, which is presented and decorated with all kinds of symbols of a good, prosperous life together. And there are other kinds of breads as well, including Pampushky, which we're going to be making today. So in a bowl, we're going to add some warm water. This should be about 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's too hot, it will kill the yeast. Then we need 1 packet of active dry yeast. This is not the same as instant yeast. If you have instant yeast, then go online and look for a conversion because it's not going to be the same amount. So sprinkle this right on top of the warm water, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then we're going to stir this together to dissolve everything. Now, what I like about this recipe, besides it looking absolutely delectable, is the fact that it only requires 1 rise. We're going to let the yeast and some of the flour kind of get happy together. That's going to be our starter. We're going to add the remaining flour, and then we can just shape, rise, and bake instead of doing the typical 2 double rise. Measure out 200 grams of bread flour. So then make a little well and add this to the flour and mix this well. So that's it pretty much for the first part. Cover it and then place it in your refrigerator to rest overnight. So this is what I did last night, and I definitely should have used a larger bowl. Oh my gosh, look at this. I wish you could smell it. It smells so great. Look at that. And empty out all of this beautiful stuff into this bowl. 1.5 teaspoons of salt and the remaining flour. We're going to knead this into a dough. So I'm going to add about half of that at a time, kind of make things easier. Oh my gosh, it feels so great. Look at it. This is my favorite part of bread making, the working of the dough. Alrighty, my lovelies, here is our beautiful dough. I kneaded it for about, I'd say 6 minutes or so. It is very smooth at this point and supple. And it's no longer sticking to my hands at all. So it turns out my batch of dough did not take up all the flour, and that might be the case for you, or you might need to add more flour depending on your kind of environmental conditions. But yeah, listen to the doughs. And now we are going to divide this little ball here into 8 pieces, cutting in half first, then in quarters, and then each one of those into wedges, so that we have 8 pieces. And now we're going to shape these into balls. And I like to pull the dough under and tuck it and pinch, forming a really tight skin on the surface. So when you tuck it under, make sure to really secure the bottom. I like to kind of seal it between my hands. And then on the table, I give a little roll just to kind of tighten things up. So you get a nice little ball. So I've got a 8-inch baking pan here, sunflower oil, which is really popular and used quite a bit in Ukraine because sunflowers grow so well there. The sunflower is the national flower of Ukraine. And place our dough ball right into there. Do the same for the others. Then we're going to cover this with a bit of plastic wrap and place it in a warm spot and let it rise. We're going to take an egg and beat it with a bit of water. Paint that onto the tops of the proofed dough balls, and then we're going to place them into a preheated 425-degree oven and bake for 20 to 25 minutes until the bread is nice and poofed and golden. We're going to make the garlic oil that we're going to paint over top of the buns when they're ready. So, super simple. We need fresh garlic. I like using a garlic press because I find it's really fast and I don't have to peel my garlic. People have asked me about this garlic press. I found it in a thrift store where I find a lot of my kitchen goods especially. And this is a Zyliss garlic press. It's aluminum, made in Switzerland. I believe they still make these. And to that, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil. Got a good bunch of parsley here, and we're going to finely chop this. This, by the way, is my favorite way to keep herbs, particularly cilantro and parsley. When I bring them home from the grocery store, I cut the little ends off and then I put them in a glass jar with water and then place this in my refrigerator. I find that I use the cilantro and parsley a lot more because I see it and the leaves don't get kind of mushy, especially with cilantro. I find when it's wet and then when they're in plastic bags, they kind of just melt and get funky. But this way they stay nice and dry, they stay hydrated, and I actually use them a lot more because I see them in my refrigerator. But I knew about it for years and I just never did it. Okay, but now I do. Now I do. I think also the trick is to use a smaller jar so it fits on your shelf. Okay, enough about herbs in the refrigerator. Now we're going to add that to the garlic. Oh, I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Alrighty, lovelies, I'll be back when the buns have finished baking, and then we'll paint this lusciousness on it, and then give it a taste. Alrighty, see you in a little bit. Alrighty, my lovelies, my pampushky are ready. I'm gonna grab them out of the oven. But, oven mitts first. Do-do-do. Oh, they look so good! They look so good! Look how stinking cute they look. Oh, just like the picture in the book. I love that. Now we're going to take that beautiful garlic parsley oil that we made earlier and spread it all over these buns. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, yeah. Can you hear that sizzle? The buns like it. The buns like it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And they're getting glossy. And also the oil will help soften the top of the bread so that it'll be nice and squishy. So Olia writes in the book that typically young garlic would be used in this recipe. But if you don't have young, freshly harvested garlic, because it's not that time of year, she said regular garlic will do just fine, which is what I've used. I almost forgot to mention that the proceeds from today's video will go to helping Ukrainians, and I will include links down below to vetted organizations if you would like to contribute as well. Alrighty, my lovelies. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And you're supposed to wait to eat bread if you want to slice it. You're not supposed to slice it right when it comes out of the oven because then you tear the bread and all that. Yes, but this is piping hot and I'm going to eat it right now. I am. But I think you're supposed to let it cool a bit. But I'm not. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's hot. Here's a sweet bun. There's the bottom. Toasted. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put a little extra garlic in the middle because that's how I roll. Close it and eat it. Here we go. Itadakimasu. Lovely. Garlicky, slightly crispy on top, a little bit chewy. Chewy crumb. And when you have fresh garlic, it has a really nice bite to it. Sometimes it's even kind of spicy. Spicy meaning fiery, delicious. The parsley is really nice in there as well. Kind of like balances out that sharpness of the garlic. This is definitely more of a bread for me rather than a dinner roll. When I think of a dinner roll, I think of really pillowy, soft, really squishy, kind of enriched bread. This doesn't have that. This is definitely a bread recipe. I think it would make a delicious sandwich. And How can you go wrong with freshly baked bread and tons of delicious garlic? Well, but if you didn't like garlic, then why would you be watching this recipe? Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. Pampushka, a Ukrainian bread roll recipe. Absolutely delicious. Relatively easy to make. A lot of the rising kind of work happens overnight while you're sleeping. And the results are stunning. And as I said earlier, you can also make it without the garlic. I think it would also be delicious as a sweet version as well. But as it is, scrum-diddly umptious. But you must like garlic, you must. Thanks so much for watching, my lovelies. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please consider donating what you can to Ukraine, and peace be with you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! All right, back to my eating a little bread.